Imagine waking up every day to the weight of an empire resting on your shoulders. You are the most powerful man in the world. Yet instead of seeking pleasure, wealth, or conquest, you spend your nights writing to yourself, reminding yourself how to stay humble, how to endure pain, how to face betrayal, and how to live with integrity. That's exactly what Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, did. His book, Meditations, was never meant to be read by anyone else. It was a collection of his private thoughts, written as exercises to keep himself aligned with Stoic philosophy. He ruled Rome from 161 to 180 AD during one of its most turbulent periods, dealing with plagues, wars, and personal tragedies. Despite the immense pressures, he tried to live as a philosopher, not just a ruler, constantly reflecting on how to remain just, rational, and unshaken by life's chaos. Yet, nearly 2,000 years later, Meditations is still one of the most widely read books on philosophy. It has inspired leaders, athletes, writers, and anyone looking for wisdom in the face of adversity. But why? What did Marcus Aurelius know about life, about suffering, about human nature that still speaks to us today? The reason is simple. The struggles of the human mind, stress, frustration, fear, and self-doubt have not changed. His reflections on discipline, resilience, and virtue offer a guide to mastering our emotions and living a meaningful life. Marcus was born in 121 AD into a noble family. His father died when he was young, and he was raised by his grandfather, a Roman senator. From an early age, he showed a deep love for philosophy and was mentored by some of the greatest minds of the time. In his teenage years, Emperor Hadrian saw something special in him and arranged for him to be adopted by his successor, Antoninus Pius. This adoption set Marcus on the path to becoming Rome's ruler. He never sought power for its own sake. In fact, he would have likely preferred a life of quiet study and reflection. But when he became emperor, he viewed it as a responsibility, a duty to Rome and to virtue itself. Unlike many rulers before him, he saw power as a burden, not a privilege. He once wrote, "A king's lot, to do good and be damned." Meditations 7.36. He accepted his role with humility and worked tirelessly to be a just leader. But leading an empire was no easy task. His reign was marked by nearly constant war. The Germanic tribes threatened Rome's borders, and his armies spent years in brutal campaigns to protect the empire. In the middle of all this, a devastating plague, now known as the Antonine Plague, swept through the empire, killing millions. On top of that, there were betrayals, political conspiracies, and personal losses, including the death of his wife, Faustina. Yet in the middle of all this chaos, Marcus found solace in writing. His reflections became his anchor, reminding him to stay strong, rational, and virtuous. Unlike most books of philosophy, Meditations is not a structured argument or a dialogue. It is a collection of short, powerful reflections divided into 12 books. Some passages are a few sentences long, while others stretch into deep meditations on life, fate, and virtue. These were not intended as public writings, but as private exercises, self-reminders to help him stay on course. He wrote in Greek, the language of philosophy, even though Latin was the language of Rome. Many of these reflections were written while he was on military campaigns, living in cold, harsh conditions on the frontiers of the empire. You can sense the weariness in his words, but also his determination. He saw philosophy not as a luxury, but as a necessity, something that helped him endure hardships, maintain his sense of justice, and find meaning in suffering. At its core, Meditations revolves around the principles of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that teaches that we should focus only on what we can control, accept what we cannot, and always act according to reason and virtue. Marcus constantly reminds himself that external events, whether they be war, betrayal, sickness, or death, are beyond his control. The only thing he can truly master is his mind. He writes, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Meditations 4.3. One of the strongest themes in Meditations is the fleeting nature of life. Marcus constantly reminds himself that everything is temporary. Our worries, our triumphs, our very existence. He writes, "Consider that before long you will be nobody and nowhere." Meditations 10.31. While this might seem dark or depressing, for him, it was liberating. It meant that he should not be consumed by pettiness, pride, or fear. Instead, he should focus on being good, doing his duty, and living each day as if it were his last. His book is also filled with reflections on human nature and how we should deal with other people. He acknowledges that people can be selfish, cruel, or ignorant, but he warns himself not to be dragged down by their negativity. He writes, "Begin each day by telling yourself, 'Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, treachery, malice, and selfishness. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil.'" Meditations 2.1. Instead of being bitter, he reminds himself to remain patient and understanding, to lead by example, and to always act with integrity. Another key Stoic principle he emphasizes is the importance of living in accordance with nature. This doesn't just mean living simply, but understanding the way the universe works and aligning ourselves with it. He believed that everything happens for a reason, even suffering, and that resisting fate is pointless. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Meditations 4.3. If we embrace change and accept hardship as part of life, we can remain unshaken no matter what happens. In this way, Meditations is not just philosophy, it's a guidebook for resilience. It teaches us how to deal with stress, loss, and uncertainty. It shows us how to find clarity amidst chaos, how to act with virtue despite adversity, and how to master our thoughts instead of being controlled by them. But to truly understand the depth of his wisdom, we must explore each book of Meditations in detail. Each section offers profound insights that build upon one another, creating a manual for personal growth and mental strength. Book 1 of Meditations is unlike any other. Instead of diving into philosophy, it is a reflection on the people who shaped him. It's a list of individuals, family, teachers, mentors, who influenced his character and values. This alone tells us something crucial about Marcus Aurelius. He didn't see himself as a self-made man. He recognized that everything he became was because of those who came before him. He expresses gratitude to his grandfather, who taught him kindness and generosity. He praises his mother for instilling in him a sense of devotion and discipline. He acknowledges his father figure, Antoninus Pius, for teaching him patience, humility, and the ability to remain calm under pressure. From his Stoic teacher Rusticus, he learned the importance of self-discipline and deep philosophical study. He even credits unnamed servants for showing him lessons in humility and diligence. This first book is a reminder to all of us. We are not alone in our journey of self-improvement. The values we hold, the mindset we cultivate, are shaped by those around us. It encourages us to reflect on the people who have influenced us, our parents, teachers, friends, and to be grateful for their impact. Marcus also understood that just as we are shaped by others, we have the power to influence those around us. His reflections in Book 1 set the stage for what follows, a deep exploration of how to live a good life, not just for ourselves, but for the betterment of the world. As Marcus Aurelius transitions from gratitude to self-discipline, Book 2 of Meditations opens with one of his most famous passages. He reminds himself that each day will bring challenges. Begin each day by telling yourself, "Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, treachery, malice, and selfishness. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and I have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood and birth, but of the same mind and possessing a share of the divine." Meditations 2.1. This is a foundational Stoic exercise, preparing the mind in advance for the obstacles it will inevitably face. Instead of being caught off guard by rudeness or cruelty, Marcus chooses to expect it. This mental preparation helps him avoid unnecessary frustration. If we accept in advance that the world will test us, we can meet those challenges with composure rather than resentment. But Marcus goes further. He doesn't just acknowledge that people will be difficult. He reminds himself that he should not hate them. Instead, he must remain just, patient, and rational. Why? Because they, too, are human. They act out of ignorance, not true malice. This perspective, deeply embedded in Stoicism, teaches that other people's wrongdoing should not provoke us to abandon our own virtue. Book 2 also explores another crucial Stoic idea: the impermanence of life. Marcus writes, "Consider that before long you will be nobody and nowhere, and neither will the things you now see, nor the people now alive." Meditations 2.11. He reminds himself that everything, his struggles, his triumphs, his very existence, is temporary. This is not meant to be morbid, but rather a call to focus on what truly matters. If life is short, why waste it on trivial worries? Why be consumed by ambition, greed, or anger when none of it will matter in the end? This perspective can be incredibly liberating. If we accept that nothing lasts forever, we can let go of unnecessary attachments and focus on living virtuously in the present. For Marcus, this means leading with integrity, acting rationally, and not allowing external circumstances to dictate his emotions. Another key passage from this book reinforces the importance of controlling one's own mind. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Meditations 2.5. This simple yet profound idea is at the core of Stoicism. External events, whether it's war, betrayal, or misfortune, are beyond our control. But our reactions, our thoughts, and our decisions are within our control. Marcus constantly reminds himself to focus on what he can change and to accept what he cannot. As Book 2 closes, Marcus urges himself to be fully present in each moment. He recognizes that dwelling on the past or worrying about the future is a distraction from what truly matters: the actions we take right now. This leads directly into Book 3, where he deepens his reflections on self-discipline and the importance of living in accordance with reason. In Book 3, Marcus Aurelius reinforces the need to stay focused on the present, avoid distractions, and commit fully to living virtuously. He begins with a striking passage. "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. Death hangs over you. As long as you live, while it is in your power, be good." Meditations 3.6. Here, Marcus is confronting one of the greatest human illusions, the assumption that we have plenty of time. We procrastinate on our goals, hold grudges, and waste time on trivial matters, believing that tomorrow is guaranteed. But Marcus urges himself to remember that life is fleeting. The future is uncertain, but what we do have is the present moment. His message is clear. Don't delay. If you want to be good now. If you want to live virtuously, do it today. This section of Meditations also touches on the idea that we should not waste energy worrying about things beyond our control. Marcus advises himself, if you are distressed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it. And you have the power to revoke that judgment at any moment. Meditations 3.9. This passage is one of the clearest examples of Stoicism's influence on modern psychology, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. The idea that our distress is caused not by events, but by our interpretation of those events, is central to many modern therapeutic practices. If we change our perspective, we change our emotional response. Marcus also warns against being overly concerned with the opinions of others. He writes, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." Meditations 3.11. This is a powerful reminder that much of what troubles us, criticism, social pressure, reputation, is often based on perception rather than reality. He encourages himself to remain focused on his own principles rather than seeking external validation. Another theme that emerges in Book 3 is the importance of action. Marcus believes that philosophy should not be an abstract intellectual exercise. It must be lived. He writes, "Stop talking about what a good man is and be one." Meditations 3.12. This is a call to action, both for himself and for us as readers. It is easy to discuss ethics, to debate morality, or to criticize others. But what truly matters is what we do. Philosophy is meant to be practiced, not just studied. Book 3 closes with a reminder that every obstacle is an opportunity to strengthen our character. He views challenges not as setbacks, but as tests, moments where we can prove our virtue. This leads directly into Book 4, where Marcus delves into the nature of the universe and our place within it. In Book 4, Marcus Aurelius reflects deeply on the nature of the universe, fate, and the role of human beings within it. He begins by reminding himself that everything that happens is part of a greater, rational order. He writes, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." Meditations 4.3. This is a key Stoic belief, that everything in the cosmos follows a rational structure, and that change is a fundamental part of existence. Instead of resisting change, Marcus urges himself to embrace it. One of the most famous passages in Meditations appears in this book. If you are troubled by something external, it is not the thing itself that disturbs you, but your judgment of it. And this you have the power to eliminate now. Meditations 4.4. Marcus repeatedly returns to this idea. Suffering is often a product of our interpretation, not the event itself. This aligns with the Stoic principle that we must learn to distinguish between what is within our control and what is outside of it. Book 4 also includes his famous metaphor of life as a play. Everything that happens is as familiar and well known as the rose in spring and the fruit in summer. For such is nature's routine, and what follows should always be familiar. The leaves fall, the fruit ripens, and so too does life unfold according to its own course. Meditations 4.44. Marcus sees himself not as a master of the universe, but as an actor playing his role. His job is not to rewrite the script, but to perform his part to the best of his ability. This aligns with the Stoic idea of amor fati, loving one's fate, no matter what it brings. As Book 4 closes, Marcus continues to reinforce the idea that life is short and that we must focus on living virtuously in the present moment. His reflections in this book lay the groundwork for the next sections, where he turns even more deeply inward, exploring the nature of the soul, duty, and discipline. Book 5 of Meditations begins with one of the most famous passages in all of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius wakes up to the struggle we all face, the battle between comfort and duty. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, remind yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. Why should I complain if I am going to do what I was born for, the things I was brought into this world to do? Or was I created simply to stay under the covers and keep warm? Meditations 5.1. This passage resonates because it's relatable. It's easy to choose comfort over effort, indulgence over discipline. But Marcus reminds himself, and us, that we were not born for leisure alone. We were made to contribute, to act, to fulfill our responsibilities. To resist this is to betray our purpose. This theme of duty and action is central to Stoicism. It's not enough to simply think virtuous thoughts or study philosophy. We must live it. Marcus warns against wasting time in endless contemplation without action. He writes, "Be not careless in your actions, nor confused in your words, nor rambling in your thoughts." Meditations 5.12. He urges himself to stop seeking excuses and instead focus on what must be done. He reminds himself, do what nature demands. Get a move on. If you have to care for yourself, do so. If it's a duty to another, do it. Meditations 5.9. This sense of responsibility applies to all aspects of life, whether it's governing an empire, maintaining relationships, or simply tending to daily obligations. Another crucial lesson from Book 5 is the idea that hardship is not an obstacle, but an opportunity. He writes, just as the nature of rational things has given each person their rational powers, so it also gives us strength to bear whatever happens. Meditations 5.18. This aligns with the Stoic principle that we should not resist or complain about difficulties, but see them as a chance to strengthen our character. Marcus also expands on an important Stoic exercise, viewing events from a cosmic perspective. He reminds himself that everything, no matter how frustrating or painful, is part of the natural order. He asks, does what has happened keep you from acting with justice, generosity, self-control, sanity, prudence, honesty, humility, straightforwardness? Remember that nothing stands in your way. Meditations 5.20. This is a powerful reminder that no external event can stop us from being good. Someone might insult us, but that does not stop us from responding with patience. A crisis might arise, but it does not prevent us from acting rationally. Everything outside our control can happen, but our character remains our choice. Book 5 ultimately teaches that philosophy is not an intellectual exercise, it's a way of life. If we wake up every day and act according to virtue, then we have nothing to fear. This sets the stage for Book 6, where Marcus deepens his reflections on the nature of the universe and the role of human beings within it. In Book 6, Marcus Aurelius turns his attention to the vastness of the universe, reminding himself of how small and fleeting his concerns are in comparison. He writes, "Look at everything that exists, and consider that it is all dissolving and changing, and in a sense, coming into being and passing away." Meditations 6.15. This reflection is not meant to be depressing but liberating. By recognizing the impermanence of all things, Marcus frees himself from unnecessary attachments and anxieties. The worries that consume us today, the failures, the insults, the inconveniences, will soon fade into nothing. This idea is closely tied to one of the most profound Stoic practices, the view from above. Marcus frequently reminds himself to mentally zoom out and see life from a cosmic perspective. He asks, how many who once praised you are now forgotten? And how many who have praised you will soon be gone themselves? Meditations 6.59. This is a challenge to our ego. We crave recognition, admiration, and legacy. But Marcus reminds himself that even the greatest figures of history are eventually forgotten. Instead of chasing fame or external validation, he urges himself to focus on what truly matters: virtue, justice, and living in alignment with nature. He also expands on the Stoic belief that everything happens according to a rational order. He states, "Everything suits and is meant for its purpose. Observe closely, and you will see that what happens to one thing is fitting for everything that exists." Meditations 6.39. This is a direct reflection of amor fati, the idea that we should embrace our fate rather than resist it. If something happens, it was meant to happen. The only choice we have is how we respond. Another key insight from Book 6 is Marcus's thoughts on death. He writes, "Just as a person casting off their youth welcomes old age, so should we welcome our dissolution." Meditations 6.47. For him, death is not something to fear but a natural transition. Just as a child grows into an adult, so too must life eventually return to the universe. He also touches on the idea of interconnectedness, writing, "What injures the hive injures the bee." Meditations 6.54. This reflects the Stoic belief in cosmopolitanism, the idea that all human beings are connected as part of a larger whole. If we harm others, we harm ourselves. If we act selfishly, we disrupt the balance of nature. Book 6 ultimately reinforces the idea that we should live in harmony with the universe, accept our fate, and focus on the present. It lays the groundwork for Book 7, where Marcus dives even deeper into the nature of the soul and how to maintain inner peace amidst external chaos. Book 7 of Meditations is one of Marcus Aurelius's most profound reflections on the nature of the soul and how to maintain inner peace amidst external chaos. By this point in his writings, we see him returning to a central idea that he has reinforced throughout the book. The mind is our most powerful tool, and if we can master it, nothing external can disturb our peace. He begins with a striking statement. Wipe out the imagination, stop pulling the strings, confine yourself to the present. Understand well what happens to you or to another. Divide and distribute every object into its causal and material elements. Discard your opinion, and at once you are safe. Meditations 7.2. This passage is a reminder that our suffering often comes not from reality itself, but from our interpretations of reality. The mind has a tendency to create stories, exaggerate problems, and dwell on fears. Marcus advises himself to strip things down to their basic elements. Instead of saying, "I have lost something precious," say, "Change has occurred." Instead of saying, "I have been insulted," say, "Someone has spoken words." By neutralizing events and removing the emotional weight we attach to them, we regain control over our minds. This leads to another crucial insight. If you are troubled by something external, it is not the thing itself that disturbs you, but your judgment of it. And this judgment you can erase at a moment's notice. Meditations 7.14. This is one of the most practical lessons in Meditations and a core principle of Stoicism. If we have the power to change our perspective, then no external event can truly harm us. Marcus is not saying that suffering does not exist. Rather, he is saying that we have the power to decide how we respond to suffering. He also returns to the theme of mortality, reflecting on the temporary nature of human life. Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. Meditations 7.56. This is a reminder that every moment we waste in regret, fear, or distraction is a moment lost forever. Instead of dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, Marcus urges himself to focus on the present and to live virtuously now. Another key reflection from this book is about dealing with difficult people. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, but none of them can injure me, for I refuse to be harmed. Meditations 7.2.2. This is another powerful Stoic exercise, mentally preparing for challenges in advance so that they do not shake us when they arrive. By the end of Book 7, Marcus has reinforced that peace comes not from controlling the outside world, but from mastering our own minds. This sets the stage for Book 8, where he deepens his reflections on self-discipline, personal responsibility, and staying true to one's principles. In Book 8, Marcus Aurelius focuses intensely on the importance of self-discipline. He has already established that the mind is the key to inner peace. But now he asks, how do we train the mind? How do we ensure that we stay on the right path every day, regardless of circumstances? One of his clearest answers is this: your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought, for the human spirit is colored by such impressions. Meditations 8.16. This is a powerful insight that aligns with modern psychology. The thoughts we dwell on shape our character. If we constantly focus on negativity, we become negative. If we focus on discipline, virtue, and self-improvement, those qualities become ingrained in us. Marcus reminds himself that he must guard his thoughts carefully and ensure that they align with his highest values. He also touches on a common struggle: the temptation to seek external validation. Be content with what you are and do not envy others. Those who are highly regarded now will soon be forgotten, and those who praise them will also pass away. Meditations 8.2.1. Marcus repeatedly warns against chasing fame, wealth, or recognition. He has seen powerful men rise and fall, and he knows that reputation is fleeting. Instead of worrying about what others think, he urges himself to focus on what truly matters, living virtuously and staying true to his principles. Another key theme in Book 8 is the importance of taking action. Do not waste time debating what a good person should be. Be one. Meditations 8.7. This is a reminder to cut through overthinking and excuses. Many people spend their lives talking about their goals, studying philosophy, or planning self-improvement. But Marcus emphasizes that none of it matters unless we take action. Virtue is not just an idea, it is a daily practice. He also returns to one of the most challenging aspects of Stoicism: the idea that we must embrace everything that happens to us, even hardship and suffering. He writes, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. The obstacle becomes fuel for the fire." Meditations 8.50. This is a precursor to the modern Stoic idea that the obstacle is the way. Marcus teaches himself to view every challenge as an opportunity for growth. If someone insults him, he has a chance to practice patience. If he suffers loss, he has a chance to practice resilience. Instead of resisting difficulties, he welcomes them as a means to strengthen his character. By the end of Book 8, Marcus has reinforced that self-discipline is not just about avoiding temptation. It is about actively training the mind to respond correctly to every situation. This lesson paves the way for Book 9, where he turns his attention to the role of individuals within society and the importance of community. In Book 9, Marcus Aurelius shifts his focus to the role of the individual within society and how we should engage with others. As emperor, he dealt with constant betrayals, flattery, and selfishness from those around him. However, instead of becoming bitter, He constantly reminded himself of his duty to remain just and rational in all interactions. He begins with a reflection on anger and how to deal with people who behave unjustly. If someone is mistaken, instruct them kindly and show them their error. But if you cannot, then blame yourself or no one. Meditations 9.11. This passage embodies the Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control. If someone wrongs us, we have two choices: educate them with patience, or accept that we cannot change them and move on. Resentment is wasted energy. Another powerful passage from this book expands on the idea that people act out of ignorance rather than true malice. When you wake up in the morning, remind yourself, "Today I will encounter people who are selfish, deceitful, and arrogant, but they are this way because they do not understand good from evil. I cannot be angry at them any more than I can be angry at a blind man for bumping into me." Meditations 9.4.2. This practice, mentally preparing for difficulties in advance, prevents unnecessary frustration. If we expect people to always act virtuously, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Instead, Marcus advises us to accept that imperfection is part of human nature. He also reminds himself that even though people may act unjustly, it is his responsibility to remain virtuous. Why should we be angry at the world, as though the world would notice? Meditations 9.17. This is a profound reminder that anger often serves no purpose. The universe does not bend to our emotions. Instead of wasting energy on frustration, we should focus on what we can control: our actions, our thoughts, and our character. Book 9 also reinforces Marcus's belief that we are part of a greater whole, writing, "What injures the hive injures the bee." Meditations 9.10. This reflects the Stoic idea that humans are interconnected. When we act selfishly or unjustly, we harm not only others, but also ourselves. If society is to function harmoniously, we must each play our part with integrity. By the end of Book 9, Marcus has solidified the idea that no matter how others behave, we always have the power to choose our own response. This lesson sets the stage for Book 10, where he deepens his reflections on change and the fleeting nature of existence. Book 10 of Meditations is centered around one of the most fundamental Stoic ideas. Everything changes. Whether it be power, relationships, health, or even life itself, nothing remains static. Instead of resisting this reality, Marcus Aurelius teaches himself to embrace it. He opens the book with a reflection on how fleeting all things are. Consider how many empires have fallen. Consider how many names once revered are now forgotten. The same fate awaits us all. Why, then, should we cling to what is temporary? Meditations 10.31. This is a direct challenge to our fear of loss. If everything changes, then attachment to anything external, status, possessions, even life itself, is foolish. The wise person accepts change rather than fights it. One of the most powerful passages in this book is his reflection on dealing with obstacles. The cucumber is bitter, then throw it away. There are brambles in the path, then go around them. That is enough. Do not ask, why do such things exist? Meditations 10.15. This is an essential Stoic mindset. Deal with things as they are, rather than wishing they were different. Instead of complaining about problems, Marcus encourages himself to respond rationally and move forward. He also reinforces the idea that worrying about the opinions of others is a waste of time. People will soon forget you altogether. Think, then, of how much time you waste worrying about their judgment. Meditations 10.9. This is a liberating thought. If history shows that even the most famous figures are eventually forgotten, then why spend our lives chasing approval? The only thing that truly matters is living according to our principles. Marcus also reminds himself that death is simply part of nature. Do not fear death. It is nothing more than a return to the source from which you came, just as a leaf falls from the tree. Meditations, 10th.12. Instead of fearing the inevitable, he chooses to see it as a natural transition, just another change in the endless flow of existence. By the end of Book 10, Marcus has reinforced one of the key lessons of Stoicism. Change is not something to fear, but something to accept. Everything that happens is part of the greater order of the universe, and our job is to live virtuously within it. This leads into Book 11, where Marcus expands on the importance of reason and aligning our actions with universal principles. As we move into Book 11 of Meditations, Marcus Aurelius sharpens his reflections on reason, justice, and aligning one's actions with universal principles. By this stage in his writings, he has already established that the mind is our most powerful tool, that change is inevitable, and that we must accept adversity with wisdom. Now, he refines these ideas further, focusing on how we should act in accordance with logic, fairness, and self-awareness. One of the most striking passages in this book is his reminder to remain humble and rational. A person's worth is measured by the worth of what they value. Meditations, 11.3. Here, Marcus challenges us to reflect on what we prioritize in life. Do we value truth, integrity, and virtue? Or do we chase external rewards like fame, wealth, and status? If we place too much importance on fleeting material things, then we diminish our own character. He also expands on the idea that reason is what separates human beings from animals, stating, "It is not death that a person should fear, but never beginning to live according to reason." Meditations, 11.1. For Marcus, living rationally means making decisions based on wisdom rather than impulse. It means practicing patience instead of reacting in anger, seeking truth instead of clinging to comforting illusions, and choosing justice over self-interest. The greatest failure in life, he suggests, is not death, but rather living without direction or purpose. Another key passage from Book 11 touches on the power of the mind in shaping our reality. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. Saturate it, then, with thoughts such as these. Wherever a person can live, there they can also live well. Meditations, 11.6. This is a profound reminder that external circumstances do not determine our happiness. Our mindset does. If we believe that we can live well only under perfect conditions, we will always be dissatisfied. But if we train ourselves to find peace and purpose no matter where we are, then we will be unshaken by life's unpredictability. Marcus also speaks about the importance of justice, arguing that it is the foundation of a virtuous life. What is bad for the hive is bad for the bee. Meditations, 11.8. This metaphor highlights the interconnectedness of human beings. Just as a bee cannot thrive if its hive is in disarray, individuals cannot flourish in an unjust society. This idea reinforces the Stoic principle that we are all part of a larger whole, and that acting selfishly or dishonestly harms not just others, but also ourselves. Another recurring theme in Book 11 is the reminder to live each day as if it were our last. He writes, "Look at your life. Ask yourself, are you doing what you were meant to do? If not, why?" Meditations 11.2. 0. This is a direct challenge to complacency. Life is short, and every day wasted in distraction or vice is a day that could have been spent in pursuit of wisdom and virtue. By the end of Book 11, Marcus has reinforced that true fulfillment comes from living rationally, acting justly, and maintaining self-discipline. This leads directly into Book 12, where he delivers his final reflections on mortality, acceptance, and the meaning of life. Book 12 is the final section of Meditations, and it carries a deep sense of closure. Here, Marcus Aurelius offers his last reflections on life, justice, and death. He has spent the previous books preparing himself mentally and emotionally for the hardships of existence, and now he fully embraces the Stoic ideal of accepting life as it is. One of the most powerful lines in this book is his direct challenge to the fear of death. Death smiles at us all, but all a man can do is smile back. Meditations 12.36. This is one of the most quoted lines from Marcus Aurelius, and for good reason. It perfectly encapsulates the Stoic approach to mortality. Instead of dreading the inevitable, Marcus chooses to face it with calm acceptance. He reminds himself that death is a natural part of life, just as much as birth, growth, and change. He also writes, "You have lived as a citizen of this great city. What does it matter if that life is 5 or 50 years? If nature requires you to leave, do so with grace, just as a grateful guest leaves a banquet." Meditations 12.36. This passage is a poetic reminder that life is not ours to control. Just as a guest does not decide when a feast ends, we do not choose when our time is up. The only thing we can control is how we live while we are here. Book 12 also reinforces his belief that we must live in accordance with nature and the universal order of things. He writes, "If the gods have determined that this is how things must be, who am I to question them? If they have not determined it, then why should I worry?" Meditations 12.14. This reflects the core Stoic belief in amor fati, the idea that we should not just accept fate, but love it. Everything that happens, whether good or bad, is part of a larger natural process. Instead of resisting it, Marcus urges himself to align with it. One of his final reflections is a call to simplicity. Do what you were made to do. Be good. Speak the truth. Live with justice. If the gods exist, they will honor you. If they do not, then live so that your own soul honors you. Meditations 12.31. This is perhaps the ultimate distillation of his philosophy. Life does not need to be complicated. We must do what is right, act with integrity, and live in a way that we ourselves can respect. Whether there is divine judgment or not, the greatest measure of a life well lived is our own conscience. Book 12 closes with Marcus fully embracing the Stoic mindset. He does not fight against reality. He does not fear the unknown. He simply accepts that life is what it is and commits himself to living virtuously for as long as he can. These final reflections serve as a powerful conclusion to Meditations. After years of self-examination, Marcus has reached a state of profound clarity, one that we, too, can strive for. What we can learn from Meditations. We have now completed a deep dive into Meditations, exploring Marcus Aurelius's thoughts on self-discipline and inner peace, the nature of change and impermanence, the importance of reason and justice, how to deal with adversity and difficult people, why we should accept fate instead of resisting it, how to live without fear of death. So what can we take away from all of this? The answer is simple. Meditations is not just an ancient book, it is a guide for how to live well. Marcus Aurelius faced war, betrayal, disease, and personal loss. Yet through it all, he maintained his composure. He did not allow himself to be controlled by anger, grief, or fear. Instead, he practiced self-mastery, focusing only on what he could control and accepting the rest with grace. And we can do the same. Every day we are faced with challenges, some big, some small. People will test our patience. Life will be unpredictable. We will face obstacles, disappointments, and losses. But as Marcus reminds us, these things only have power over us if we allow them to. So, what passage from Meditations resonated most with you? Let's continue the discussion in the comments. And if you found value in this breakdown, consider subscribing for more deep dives into philosophy, history, and self-improvement. Until next time, stay strong, stay reflective, and most importantly, live with purpose.